Hello guys, the DV Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I'm going to go over a bunch of the deck lists that topped regionals last weekend, and you can see there's infinite regionals here, infinite top 8s, and we will go ahead and first look over the data, and then I'm going to go over some of the lists. So we can see that Ryzeal is 38%, Malice is 20%, which is kind of like, it's like kind of expected, right, to see a majority Ryzeal, then Malice. We can also see Blue Eyes now sneaking in, and we also see Fire King now popping up, which I think this deck's going to have a little bit of popularity behind it after winning the YCS UK. We can also see Mermail popping up, and then a bunch of just random decks, which is to be expected because, you know, regionals. We can also see, though, for the first place, we can see Ryzeal, you know, pretty much being the same percentage. Malice's percentage has gone up, and actually Blue Eyes percentage has gone up because it won two different regionals. And then just looking at the I guess, well, this says weeks tops and this says total weeks tops. Oh, this is like total. Okay, so for the last like 10 weeks, this entire format. Okay, I guess we won't go over this one though because it won't include stuff like Blue Eyes, Fire King, really. But okay, now we can go ahead and hop into some of the deck lists. Looking at the first deck list, we can see a pure Ryzeal deck playing the holes in the main deck with the Rafflesia. We can see 2 cross and plugins, so playing 4 Ryzeal spells / traps. You know, pretty standard pure list, like engine wise, like monsters, you know, bonfire, no small world. Wait, no desires in the deck. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 actual like hand traps, 3 talents called by. No desires though, no pot of prosperity. I'm surprised they were able to do well without bricking, to be honest. I feel like that'd be a pretty big problem with the deck, or just getting stopped like 1 hand trap on your ice or something. We can see in the side deck lots of D-Fissure, DDGs to shut down graveyard effects, also Solemn Judgment, infinite going first cards, which I guess is kind of fair because they main deck a lot of going second cards. But also going first, their deck would be extremely strong, having like infinite going first cards plus talents plus called by. Now onto the next deck list, we have a Malice deck list, playing a good chunk of Bestials. Also 2 Druisworm, 2 Sornier. Sornier is like kind of cool in the deck, because you can Sornier, dump Magmama, and then a Bow to summon it back out. So that's like why some people are playing Sornier, because you can do the interaction like that. We can also see they're playing 41 cards, no terraforming, so a little bit less Malice names, but it is also a regional. You know, it's not like a YCS where once you get the top cut, you know, if it's like top 64, you need to win 6 in a row to win the YCS. At a regional, you can afford to lose one of those rounds and still end up top 8ing the tournament. So you can afford, you know, little bricks here and there. And it's not like the deck's like that much more inconsistent, not playing terraforming. We can also see Metaltronus in the side deck. We see 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 hand traps in the main outside of the Bestials. Bestials are becoming a little bit worse because, you know, Malice, pure Ryzeal, the Fire King deck's running around now. Mermail's becoming a little bit more popular. Now onto the next list, we can see Ryzeal Mitsurugi playing Trap in main, Night Sword Serpent, Futso, 2 sword, only 2 ice. Playing Droplet, Talons, Called By. Not playing that many hand traps, really plays like the full Mitsurugi engine here. We can also see in the side deck they have like XYZ Encore. I'm guessing this is just mainly for Dweller, but can also hit something like Detonator 2. Judgment as their going first card of choice. Next list, we have Primite Blue Eyes. We can see they played 2 Blue Eyes. They only played 2 Fua. This might be because, you know, they might only be able to get access to 2 Fua. They also only played 2 Purge, played 1 Magma in the deck. You don't have to play other Bestials with this card in the main deck because this can search out engine pieces like Barrel. Well, it's really just Barrel because it's either Barrel or Blue Eyes. So personally, if I play Magma in this deck, I would prefer having a Druisworm with it. But I can understand, like, you know, if they do think, you know, Bestials are becoming a little bit worse, maybe you don't want to draw them as much, so you just play the one that gets you access to a starter card on the next turn. And then everything else in the main deck looks fairly standard. Extra deck, we can see 3 Spirit Dragons. They also play Crimson Dragon, which can summon out, you know, Cosmic Blazer. Okay, but Triple Spirit is kind of wild. I feel like you really only need 2 of this card. Play Typhon, which I think this card's excellent in this deck. It does conflict with Purge, but to be fair, if you just draw Purge, you just don't summon this card. It's like not that big of a deal. But I do think Typhon is a pretty good card right now, and I think a lot of people aren't respecting it when they're playing. On the side deck, lots of Malice hate. Gotta have hate for that deck. That deck is very strong. Then we can see a Primite Bestial deck, which I've seen this deck running around. And it's a cool list. It's a cool list overall, but let's be honest, this is just infinitely worse than Bestial Fiendsmith. Bestial Fiendsmith is just much better overall. This deck really does have a lot of struggles to it. Also, it is kind of cool that they get to play like Bestial Albert because it becomes Fallen of Albaz, and then they can go into Albia. So that's like a little cool thing that would throw people off guard. They play the Vitos in the side deck there. So they definitely have some cool no Lancia. They do have some cool choices in this deck list. But overall, this deck isn't a deck that I don't think you're going to have to look out for very much. Now we have a Malice deck profile. We see Ash, Ogre, Nib, Imperm, 1 Impulse. Definitely some interesting ratios here. Playing max consistency. Basically max consistency. Only plays 2 Cat though, but basically max consistency here. Also plays Talents in the main, Metaltronus in the main. Side decks the Shifter, Hate for the Mirror Match, Cross Out, Strike. Now we can see a Fire King list, which this looks exactly like Dinkaboo's list, which, yeah, is kind of to be expected. A lot of people are just going to copy the deck list because Fire King's a really fun deck to play, and I think a lot of people are going to end up trying this deck out, and I don't think the deck's actually that bad of a deck overall. On to the next list now, we have Primite Ryziel playing Garnet as the target for this, which is funny. It's not even the best target as a level 4, but it is like a really funny level 4 getting to play Garnet in 2025. But I think this deck is like, it's not as good as pure Ryziel, it's not as good as Ryziel Fiendsmith, but if you want to play your Primite cards and you want to play your Ryziel cards in the same deck, boom, you got an option. And honestly, it's not like that bad, right? It's not that bad. You still have room. What they're playing 15 hand traps in the deck with Called By, Talents, Pot of Prosperity in it. And then we can see side deck, Book of Eclipse, Strike, Droll, Lancia. And then we can see the next deck list. We have a pure Ryziel deck. They're playing double Small World in the deck. They're playing Book of Moon. They play 2 Cross, 1 Plugin, no Rafflesia. They're playing the Exosister, one that bounces back the hand. They're also playing Degusto Emerald, Haggard Lizard, which I think Lizard's pretty solid, being able to banish itself off field as a link. Definitely comes up. Having D-Fissure in the side deck. They also side deck Plasma Hole for going first. That's an interesting choice. We can see, just Chaos Hunter, Lancia, very solid cards, but D-Fissure becoming more popular. That is a little bit scary. Then we can see the next list, which is a Mermail list, and holy, I feel like there's a lot to talk about in this list. They only play 2 Shrine, they play 1 Abyss Pike, but playing 1 Abyss Pike is fine in their list because they're not playing the King in the list that can go ahead and discard and summon multiple copies of this from the deck, which is very interesting because the King is a very high payoff card. Like, if you get to it and it resolves, I feel like your win rate is extremely high, and they decided to not include it on their deck list. They also play Double Minstrel, which most people only play 1 of this, at least in the main deck. They play Barrier Statue. They still have room for 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 hand traps with a couple talents and a Called By. They play Double Coral, more follow-up. Obviously, they're not playing like as of an explosive Mermail deck list compared to most people. So they want to have more follow-up. They side deck the Trap also for going first to set off of the Abyss Stripe. And now we have a Orcust Azamina deck list, which this deck's cool. They also play the Trap, which a lot of people don't know what this does, but this is a Book of Moon, and then if you have a level 5 or higher illusion monster, you can go ahead and reset it but banish it when it leaves the field. So if you already have, like, let's say Deception plus Witch, then you can Deception get access to Hollow, and then Witch get access to the Trap, since, there's no, like, original Sinful Spoils to set in this deck. You could also set Wanted, but obviously they want to have more interruptions in their deck, which is why they chose to play this. They also play 1 Magmamut, 2 Druisworm, and then Lubellion. Decided to not put 1 Baldrake in the list, not even for going first in the side deck, which I feel like that is a interesting choice. I feel like having a Baldrake alongside of your Lubellion, Magmamut, to make your deck better going first is pretty good. But also, to be fair, I haven't tested this Orcus deck at all, so maybe going first isn't a problem at all, and maybe it's just going second. But how many hand traps do we play? 3, 6, 9, 12, plus we have some Bestials. Okay, so we do have a decent amount of going second cards in our deck. Now on to the next deck list. We have a Blue Eyes deck. We also see the Sea Kaiser in the deck, which also makes Magma much stronger, being able to search this too. That's just like an added bonus. That's obviously not the reason they're playing it, I assume. But this isn't that bad of a card. Like, if you have Blue Eyes, it's an extender that can summon itself out. Also, it's another starter. You can just normal summon it out and then link off for like Spirit, and then this can go ahead and dump the Maiden from the deck to the graveyard, and then you can use this to search Field Spell, and Field Spell is going to dump Blue Eyes, Tribute, bring out Blue Eyes, summon out Maiden, and now you have like Synchro 9 set up. Or you can, Maiden effect to go place from deck, place True Light, set Wishes, go ahead, get access to Sage, and now normal summon that out. And now you have like Majesty, Sage Search, Veiler, Synchro 9. Also, they only play 1 Wishes in the deck, which I think only playing one of this card is crazy. How much non-engine do they play? I'm assuming it's a lot. 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Yeah, that checks out. They're also playing 42 cards in the deck. Looking at the extra deck, they are playing Triple Spirit plus the they're also playing the Cypher Divine Dragon, which we haven't really seen any of this be played. We've seen a lot of Cosmic Blazer being played. Well, I wouldn't even say a lot, but a decent amount of this being played. But we haven't seen like any of this being played. We can also see the side deck Ancient Fairy with the Secret Village, because you can get access to Ancient Fairy through Spirit Dragon, and then Ancient Fairy destroy the field spell to search out Secret Village. And that's a cool way to like get like a searchable Floodgate. They also play Thrust with like Sanctum D Barrier. Onto the next list now, we have a Bestial Fiendsmith deck list, which, I just figured I would include at least one of these on here, but this seems like a pretty standard deck list overall. Nothing too crazy. Triple Sword, Metaltronus in main, playing 2 Bestials, plays a Talents in main, side deck, yeah, nothing too crazy. Extra deck plays double Eclipse Twins. You really have the choice between like Exceton Knight, Requiem, SP, Typhon, or Eclipse Twins in that one spot. The other like 14 spots are like almost just all mandatory. And they've decided to go with the other Eclipse Twins, which I think this is one of the better options out of the 5 that I named that you can play in your extra deck. And then going on to the last deck list, we have a Blue Eyes deck. We can see that they're playing an extremely standard list, playing 18 hand traps. Yeah, very standard engine. The main deck is actually so standard. Yeah, and then the extra deck. They actually play the Crystal Clear Wing over Synchro Dragon, which I don't know if I agree with this card. I think it'll definitely catch people off guard if you summon it off the Crimson Dragon. But it might just be better to play like more Cosmic Blazer. I think in this deck, I think Cosmic Blazer is just a broken card overall. If you can get your opponent to a grind game and you have Cosmic Blazer, the game's over. You win the game like 9 out of 10 times. And the other 1 out of 10 times you probably misplayed somewhere down the line to lose the game. Like, this card's absolutely absurd. Also, they play Hope Arventure. I guess they play Ultimate Slayer, and they do need an XYZ to dump. I wonder if this card actually came up, or if this could have just been Miro Logic for the Ultimate Slayer to give them a little bit of an easier time into the Raziel matchup, being able to use Ultimate Slayer as a way to out-detonator, then negate the next card instead of just being able to out one card with it. We also see, Chaos Hunter, Lancia. Chaos Hunter is becoming so popular to the point to where I feel like Mouse players do need to start preparing for this card more. Maybe, leave your Metaltronus in the main deck, so that way you're able to Metaltronus and special summon it and out to this card. Maybe it's just having, I guess, the Talents obviously would be in your deck. The Thrust would obviously be in your deck if you're playing them. But I do think this is a card that you need to start respecting more. I think this card also makes Lancia a little bit worse, too. I mean, not Lancia, my bad. Cross out a little bit worse. Because before you could cross out onto Lancia or, whatever else you're trying to hit with it. But now you have so many, absurd targets, like Fua, Meow, Lancia, Chaos Hunter, where it's I don't know if you necessarily want to be having 4 dead cards in your deck against other matchups. and if that's really worth having the cross out for, or maybe you should just have something like Thrust and Strike to be able to go ahead and be able to go like Thrust in the talents, which outs Chaos Angel, or Thrust into like a 1-turn Floodgate to try to stop the opponent. Maybe like, maybe the crossout just isn't the wave anymore with how people are now building their decks. But that is going to be it for the video, and with that being said, the DB Grinders signing off. Peace, have a nice day, stay safe.